right, good afternoon. Let's try to keep the schedule in order. So I will start the session this afternoon. Before all, thank you for coming to this first session after the launch, which is always sometimes a little bit difficult. My name is Germán Valdés, and I'm the NRO Executive Secretary, and I will be sharing this session of the Global Report. We have a set of different reports from different RIRs, ICANN, IANA, an ISO AC report as well. It's always a good opportunity to know what other organizations that are sharing with APNIC the responsibility of the internet address distribution are doing in other part of the world, and make some comparison and benchmarking and understand what the relevant projects that is quite normal, that sometimes it's a matter of time that what is going on in discussions and policy in one region will eventually come and to the Asia-Pacific regions and vice versa. So I will start these sessions with my own presentation, which is about the NRO update. Thank you, guys. This presentation, I divided the presentation in two parts. One is about the introduction about what the NRO is for any newcomers in the room, and also for those people that are familiar but not maybe enough about what the NRO and the composition and the justification and objectives of these organizations are. Well, I just take the time to make a bit of introduction and explanation. And the second part is about the NRO activities, relevant engagements that has been doing the RIRs under the umbrella of the NRO. Well, the NRO is the Number Resource Organization, is a not incorporated association, basically made by the 5 RIRs. His missions are to provide and promote a coordinated internet number registry system, the promotion and defend of the multi-stakeholder model and the bottom-up policy development process, and as a point for coordination for joint activities. All RIRs share a global agenda, and the NRO is the umbrella organization which the RIRs organize themselves to pursue the global objectives, and also the NRO fulfill the role of the ICANN address support organization. The NRO provide the funds and the resources to the ASO to perform something of his activity, actually. Some key focus areas that the NRO has been prioritizing after the EC retreat last year is to increase and support the RIR coordination, to collaborate in global internet governance activities, to re-engage in a proper branding and reposition of the NRO and his mission, and well, to monitor and contribute to the global internet governance discussions. The NRO is made of basically the 5 CEOs of each organization. The bylaws state clearly that the RIR board designate a representative, and so far is the 5 CEOs. They rotate annually the roles inside the NRO Executive Council. Right now is the year of APNIC to chair and lead the group. The actual chair is Adiela Globan, and the secretary is Axel Polly from IMCC, and Lacnic is the treasurer. Since April 2013, I've become a permanent secretariat, and I support the NRO activities as well as the ASO. And the NRO also is made of different coordination groups, depending on the speciality of these groups. Those are communications, public affairs, engineering, registration services, and IPv6 coordination groups. The finance, there is an annual budget, which is shared proportionally based on the registration services revenue, or RIR. And those, the budget is mostly focused on staff costs, travel support. As I mentioned before, some activities of the ASO are supported by the NRO. One of those is the travel funds for the ASO EC members. Some expenses dedicated as well to communications, teleconference costs, for example, outreach, which has to do with materials that are developed in the frame of some forums like the Internet Governance Forum, and of course the annual contribution to ICANN, which has been maintained for a long time, and a little more than $100,000 per annum. Moving to the activities, the Internet Governance Forum is one of the most important areas where the NRO maintains his coordination and engagement. The IGF has an advisory council. There are two representatives from the RIRs there, which is Paul Wilson and Paul Rendek. And we just finished 2 weeks ago a successful activity and representation activities in the last IGF in Istanbul, where the NRO has a booth where we were able to distribute in the delegation backed materials about the IPv6 around the world, some examples of successful implementation IPv6 projects around the world, and information about the coming IANA oversight process, and information about the NRO as well. And several RIR staff participated and contributed to in many workshops during the IGF. The NRO also acts in representation of the 5 regional registries, so there is a constant correspondence and communication with other organizations. Some example of this is some communications about ICANN accountability, and most recently about the transition of NTIA stewardship of the IANA functions, where the NRO contribution and correspondence to ICANN was about to support a coordination group to drive the process, that the consultation should be based on the 3 different communities affected by IANA services, and that any IANA policy development process should be separated of this consultation, so to separate policy from operation. More recently as well, the NRO has requested ICANN to increase the ASO participation in the ICANN meetings and to guarantee ASO NRO reporting in the plenary sessions. Moving to the ITU world, in the last World Telecommunications Policy Forum, the NRO requests to ITU to call for more openness and a greater attention to IPv6 deployment. There are more documentations about the NRO contribution and correspondence, and there is a link here that you can check. It's in the NRO website /documents. The NRO also acts as a global engagement vehicle for the RIRs. I think it's the flavor of this year, and the coming year will be the IANA transition, the oversight transition, where Adiel and Paul Wilson are members of the coordination group that will be drive this process, and also in coordination with ICANN, there is a close communication in coordination with ICANN regional vice president. The NRO also participates in a group called iStart. iStart is a group made of internet organizations like ICANN, ISOC, ITF. The NRO is also part of this, and through them also cooperate and engage in global activities. More recently, about in the preparation of the Net Mundial conference in Sao Paulo, and through the iStar as well to contribute and make comments about the future of IANA services. Finally, just recently, the Communications Coordination Group developed a new ASO website, which is the process where collect information of changes that will improve the ASO website. Those was developed by RIR staff. regarding also maybe related to the IANA oversight process, there is a new information on the NRO website regarding the comparative overview of the governance frameworks of the RIRs. There is a comparative matrix where you can check all the IRR efforts to be accountable and transparent to the community. And we have been developing a good amount of material in preparation for the IANA oversight consultation process. There is a link here. There's a short URL that you can check. That you will find very good information about the background of IANA services and the background of this process. It will help you to understand better what is the relevance and importance. Tomorrow in the morning there will be a session here. And it's expected that each region will have a consultation process similar. So at the end of the year, the RIRs will consolidate information that could use as a feedback to IANA regarding the future of the IANA services related to IP addresses. So my invitation for you is to check this information and this URL in advance of the session tomorrow. That will be all my presentation. You have any questions, I will be happy to answer. Otherwise, I will move to the next speaker, which, if my memory doesn't fail, is the ASOAC. After. Sorry, my mistake. Next presentation is Juan Lian with the global report of the resource manager services.
Okay. Thanks, Herman. Yeah, good afternoon all. Yeah, I'm the registration service manager at APNIC. I'm here to present the NRO Internet Number Resource Status Report. This report is prepared by 5 IRs, and the data in the report is up to 30 of June 2014. First, let's look at the IPv4 address space. Everyone knows there are 256/8 in IPv4 total address space. And here is showing where are they now. You can see 91 of them has been delegated before the IR system. And then 130 delegated to IRs directly by IANA. And also have 35 reserved for technical purpose. And for the IR range, you can see APNIC actually received more IPv4 than any other IRs. We have 45/8. Yeah, and follow up with Aaron, WeaponsCC, NetLink, and APNIC. This graph shows the available IPv4/8 in each IR. Only APNIC still have some space, like just over 3/8, and all region actually down to 1/8 or under. WeaponsCC actually reached it 5/8, but they bounced it a little bit because that's what IANA recover pool delegated in this year. They get a little bit recover space from IANA. That's bounced back over just 1/8. And this graph shows the IPv4 address delegation by IRs by year. You can see we have a faster growth since 2000 to 2011. And 2011, APNIC reached to 5/8. And after that, there's not much space delegated by APNIC regarding to IPv4. And then in 2012, 12, weapon CC, the green one, also reached to 5/8. And then in the last 2 years, weapon CC also then delegated much IPv4 in size. And in the last 2 years, actually, lately, the red line, you can see, they delegated more IPv4 than any other region in the last 2 years. And here is the total IPv4 allocation by RIRs since 1999. APNIC, weapon CC, and AVN delegated more IPv4 than other regions. And move on to the AS number assignment. This graph shows the AS number assignment globally. You can see it is very stable. Every year allocated similar amount of AS numbers. There's not much change. And weapon CC is delegated more AS number than other region. You can see the green bar. And here is the total AS number delegated by RIRs since 1999. Yeah, you can see weapon CC and AVN actually delegate more AS number than other region. Let's look at the 4-byte AS number. Since 2007, the IRs started to assign 4-byte AS numbers. And you can see weapon CC, lately, and APNIC assign more 4-byte AS numbers in the last, before 2012. And in the last 2 years, lately, AVN also catch up in the last 2 years. You can see the blue, the light blue bar. AVN actually start picking up since 2013 to delegate 4-byte AS numbers. This is the total 4-byte AS number assigned by the IRs since 2007. You can see weapon CC, APNIC, and NETLIC actually assign more 4-byte AS number than AVN and APNIC at the moment. Finally, let's look at the IPv6. This graph shows the total IPv6 space. We have /3 for global unicast address to allocate to IRs by IANA. You can see the yellow bar. It total is like 512/12 in the yellow bar. And at the beginning, IANA only used 1/12 to allocate to all the IRs. You can see the red one. And in 2006, IANA allocated /12 to each IR. Here is the list. And so far you can see the IPv6 use is still very little for the compared to the total space. And this graph shows the IR allocations by year. We can see its continued growth. Since 2008, you can see the trends going up, the allocations. IPv6 is still like on the right to growth. And here is the total allocations by each IR. Weapon CC actually allocate more IPv6 than any other region. Actually, nearly half, right? Half of the allocation made by weapon CC. And this is the IPv6 assignment directly assigned by IRs to end user. And we can also see the growth in the last few years. And here is the total IPv6 assignment by each IR. Aaron and WeaponsCC actually make more direct assignment to end user than other IRs. Finally, let's look at the percentage of members have IPv6 in each region. You can see WeaponsCC and NetLink is a bit ahead. They are nearly 70% of the members have got IPv6 delegation, and all other three IRs is still under 50%. Yeah, I think we still have a lot to do, yeah, and to encourage our members to move to IPv6. All the statistic information you can see from the NRO website. Yeah, here is the link. Okay, thank you. Is there any question? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Guan Lian. Now is the turn of the report of ASOAC. Aftab, please. Aftab is a member of ASOAC from Asia Pacific region.
Hello everyone, this is Aftab Siddiqui. So I'll be presenting the ASOAC report. So just for those people who are not so much aware of what ASOAC is, a brief introduction. Harman just explained the NRO, so this is the similar kind of introduction what I have given here. As far as APNIC is concerned, we have 3 members in the ASO. 2 are elected, 1 is appointed by the RIR, which is the APNIC EC. What we do is like advise ICANN board, select ICANN board members, 2 members, and select NOMCOM member, that is 1. We have a conference call every month and face-to-face meeting once every year. These are the names and the RIRs which constitute all the ISOAC members, 15 of them. As I said, like every first of Wednesday, we meet through teleconference. We can have an emergency meeting if there is a need to have it. After APNIC 37, which was held in Malaysia, we had around 6 conference calls, 1 emergency meeting, and 1 face-to-face meeting during the ICANN in London. This is the global policy development cycle in a very simplest way. That's how all RIRs develop their policies. Then NRO oversees those policies, and if there is a need for a global policy from the ASO perspective, we develop that global policy and report to ICANN. There are currently no global policies in consideration, but on April 15th, IANA asked for an advice because of the reason that there are less than 500 2-byte ASN left in the IANA pool, and they wanted to have an advice for the policy. The policy name is Internet Assigned Number Authority Policy for Allocation of ASN Blocks to Regional Internet Registry. For that reason, an emergency meeting was called on April 23rd, following the standard operating procedure of the ASOAC. After the much deliberation, we made a questionnaire and sent that questionnaire to all the RIR Secretariat for their response. The questionnaire is here. It's quite small, quite lengthy, so you can download the presentation and read it yourself if it is not visible clearly here. The main, the main points were how many ASNs are left with each RIRs, both 2 byte and 4 byte. What is the percentage of allocations and how early they think that they'll run out of 2 byte and 4 byte ASN. So after that response from all the RIR secretariats and much deliberation between the ASO AC members, we concluded that there is no need to have a public policy for this, global policy for this. And the way current policy is written, there is no need to change anything in it. So we, on that note, because IANA asked for an advice, we responded with a letter which is publicly available, and we suggested that the policy remains as it is. And then we suggested that how RIR are managing the 2 byte and 4 byte ASN, it is up to them, and it is their operating procedure. And letter is available publicly at the below link. You can just find it out from the presentation. But we do realize that there are very limited amount of 2 byte ASNs are left with the IANA. So we suggested NRO that a mutual agreement should be made transparently that no RIR should request for more than 99 2 byte ASN or 16-bit ASNs from the IANA. And we understand that that was well understood by the RIRs, and recently APNIC and LACNIC got 2 byte ASN, 99 2 byte ASN, not more than that, because that it is allowed by the policy. Other than that, we have nominated we have selected 2 people for the ICANN board previously, and Mr. Raymond will be completing his term next year, so we'll be selecting another member on his seat. We have appointed Hans-Peter Holland as ASO delegate for the NOMCOM, and he has volunteered for the next year as well, so we have unanimous support for him, and we have already nominated him. Other than that, there are multiple working groups in which our ASOAC members are involved. So Hartmut Glaser is on the IANA Stewardship Transition Coordination Group, and Fiona Songa is on the Enhanced Accountability Working Group. As Herman suggested that we have a new website as well, so this is just a snapshot of that website. You can just take a look and give your feedback if it is good or not. If any changes are required, please suggest. And as you are aware that we are up for NRO NC elections because one of our member is completing his term, Mr. Naresh Ajwani. So we have 6 nominations. Online voting is closed today, I guess, so you'll be up for on-site voting only. So that's it from the ASO report. If any questions, please. I guess, thank you.
Aftab, could you start talking appreciation on behalf of APNIC?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next presentation is 2 in a row from Sabe Bosia, Regional Vice President for Australasia and the Pacific.
Okay, thank you very much, Aman. Okay, as Aman said, I'm ICANN staff responsible for stakeholder engagement in the Oceania region. That includes Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands. So I'd like to just thank you for the opportunity to present a brief ICANN update as part of the global reports. So I will focus on what's been happening at ICANN that's relevant to the community. Also a request to the Asian language communities here that is in support of the internationalized domain names work, and then share some of the work that's been happening in the Asia Pacific hub. So stakeholders and community members engaging in ICANN work can tell you that there are many important activities that are underway. However, as you would have heard in yesterday's opening ceremony, the mention of this very unique opportunity to transition the US government's anti-IA stewardship role in the context of IANA functions to the multi-stakeholder community. It is a truly unique opportunity and one that has been under discussion and part of the ICANN dialogue for many years. So this is a really wonderful opportunity for us to come together to address important and related issues and also ensure everyone is fully aware. ICANN was asked to convene the global stakeholders to develop a proposal to that transition based on some criteria. So as you know, the RIRs receive IP address blocks and ASN from the IANA for redistributions in their regions. So we appreciate that APNIC community this week will be holding its own community consultations in a session that's going to be held tomorrow. And I just wanted to share that there's also a microsite that has been developed inside ICANN website with more information and details of how you can participate, and so have other, the NRO and APNIC have also done this for themselves. So an IANA Stewardship Coordination Group was created, and they have had a series of phone and face-to-face meetings. They will work with the community to garner feedback to help them prepare for the proposal for submission to the NTIA. So, and last week, an RFP was issued for communities interested. Another area of interest to the community is the ICANN's accountability and what would happen with its changing relationship with the US administration and the context of the transition of the NTIA's role of the stewardship and in the IANA function. It became clear that there needed to be conversations around the accountability space of ICANN in particular. This discussion will look at how ICANN remains accountable in the absence of its historical contractual relationships to the US government and the perceived backstop with regard to ICANN's organizational-wide accountability provided by that role. While closely related to the ongoing discussions around IANA stewardship transition, this is a separate process. To date, coordination groups that have been formed are the cross-community group, the public experts group, and there was a recent town hall meeting at the IEGF in Istanbul, and public comments have been sought for this process as well. ICANN has been broadening its engagements on topics around ICANN in IGFs, both at national and regional and global IGFs, and you would have heard that ICANN have been engaged with World Economic Forum in support of the Net Mandal initiative. Okay, one of the asks that I want to do here today is on the ongoing internationalized domain names program as we continue to forge ahead in ICANN. So we are calling for volunteers to serve on one of the several panels that will define the rules for generating new top-level domain labels for the script or writing systems for their community. As many of you are coming from different parts of Asia with a local language skill set, we are inviting you to join this generation panel today by emailing the email address there, idntLDs@icann.org. And the aim is to increase the number of panel members so that we can make sure that there's enough participation in working on towards this process. So please, if you can, also inform your others that might be interested in this work as well. So I'll briefly talk about some of the activities that's ongoing in the Asia Pacific Hub. As you know, 1 year ago, we opened up a Pacific Hub, and that's based in Singapore. And we've increased our staff hire in Singapore, and some of the functions that we now offer are related to registrar services, contractual compliance, and also added some capability in terms of how we can help the community in areas of technical capability building around the areas of security and resiliency. So this is looking really good for us, and as we know that we can now work with you in the same time zone and ensure that there's an office that's open to address your needs. So some of the initiatives that have been developed is the result of direct listening to the community, and through partnerships have supported an Asia-Pacific Internet Leadership Program, the Language Localization Project, and also the Next Generation or Youth Program at ICANN meetings. Let me share a bit about the Language Localization Program. As you know, the Asia-Pacific region is diverse, and it has been expressed by members who wanted to work with ICANN and to increase the ICANN awareness within their own little communities. That they say that it's sometimes difficult to translate some of the ICANN content for them to use in their own language. So we've listened and we've come up with this toolkit for language localization. So this language localization toolkit was developed jointly with KISA and serves to provide a basic set of ICANN materials that can be used for outreach purposes to local communities and stakeholders. So for example, the slide decks that are offered in English can be localized to your local language to enable effective outreach. Speaking of outreach and engagements, ICANN Global Stakeholder Engagement staff have embarked on working with regional communities to develop regional engagement strategies. Both Asia and Oceania regions have a list of agreed activities and initiatives that they will work with interested parties towards the implementation of this. You would have heard that ICANN and APNIC signed an MOU to promote en-route Anycast deployment in Asia Pacific. Now, I'm happy to report that there have been a lot of interests from the region to host the en-route server Anycast node. And if you're a service provider here and interested to do this, please send us an email. Staff in the region have also consistently participated in regional events presenting on ICANN, and also to support and conduct technical trainings with partners through DNSSEC workshops and training for law enforcement and justice department, on example on DNS badness. And ICANN have developed an online platform called ICANN Learn, where you can learn at your own pace for free. You can also sign up to My ICANN, which allows you to customize the content and information that you would like from ICANN. And also, if you're interested to participate at ICANN events remotely and via webinar sessions as well. ICANN has 3 meetings a year, and we support a fellowship program that people from underserved regions can apply for, provided they meet the criteria. So lastly, this is my last slide for this one. On the 24th to 26th of this month, there will be a registry roadshow in Tokyo. They'll have an in-depth and interactive 3-day workshop to cover topics including registry operator responsibilities. And for those that are interested in registrar services with the new GTLD, there's also a webinar that we will conduct next month. And also an invitation to you to participate in ICANN 51 in Los Angeles. So thank you for that. I'll go on to my next presentation. So the next presentation is on IANA activities update. I've been sent this presentation to present on behalf of the IANA, who have sent their apologies that they cannot be here. And some of this you would have heard already from Guang Lian and also from Aftab, who've updated you. So the agenda for today is to talk about the customer survey that they are conducting, IPv4 global policy implementation, the staffing changes that have gone through in IANA, new GTLD update, the root zone requests, and IANA stewardship transition. So if you had participated in an IANA survey last year, so this year IANA will again conduct a customer survey. It'll run for 4 weeks from mid this month. And they are hoping that you can participate in their survey so that they can improve the technical requirements, including IPv6 and web hosting. They will publish these results at the end of the year, and we're using a third party to help in this survey. On the IPv4 global policy implementation, the APNIC notified ICANN that its stock of addresses had dropped below the 50% of the /8 in May. So and the allocation phase of the policy was activated immediately in line with the ASO AC advice. So each RIR have received the /11 equivalent. The first schedule allocation was made on the 2nd of September, and each RIR received the /12, and those are the address spaces there. On the AS numbers, global policy implementation, AFTAB has mentioned this, that in June 2013, the ASO AC advised that the AS number allocations could be composed of multiple non-contiguous blocks. Some allocations have been split between 16-bit and 32-bit AS numbers, and the recent allocations have included just 99 16-bit AS numbers, and the pool of unallocated 16-bit AS numbers are now that just X left in it. The staff changes that has happened is that Nayala Saras has rejoined the IANA department, and her responsibilities on route management, protocol parameters, and internet number resource services. Just wanted to note that as of October 13, there has been 392 new GTLDs delegated to the route, and this is the 4th September stats, and approximately 9% of delegated new GTLDs are from the IDNs. On the root zone requests for 15 July to 14 of August, they have some stats here on the number of requests that have been received by ICANN and the average processing time that they've also conducted. So you can see how busy they are in terms of staffing and resources. And their performances is on a link. And so on the IANA function stewardship transition FAQ, there's this FAQ that's on the ICANN website to assist and support this work. There's a list of the current ICG group. As we know, like Paul Wilson is part of this group from this region and others. And how you can also get involved through the ICANN website on this process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sabe. Next presentation is the ARIN report presented by Paul Anderson. Paul is Vice Chair and Treasurer of ARIN Board of Trustees. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you very much. John Curran couldn't be here, but he sends his regrets, so you get the Torontonian instead. What have we been focusing on this year? Quite a few things. Obviously, we've been very involved in the Internet governance forums. We've had staff and community members attending, NetMundial, the IGF, as well as the ICANN to deal with the IANA transition, and we've been taking that back to our members. Focusing a bit internally, we just completed a long overdue customer satisfaction survey. It was done by an external party and focused on asking a large swath of questions, not only to the usual suspects that may show up, but we also did a great effort to get to the people who interact with us every day to get their views not only on how well was our registration services processing to how easy was it to interact with us as a member. All the details have also been published, all 46 pages of it, so if you feel some nighttime reading, feel free to have a look. We've been spending quite a bit of time continuing our enhancement of our online services, We have a large number of legacy applications that we continue to convert, and as any of you have ever had to deal with that, it can be a long and painful process, but we're very happy with the progress that we're making, and we'll be continuing to do that. We also, from the community standpoint, have been looking with the membership, doing a fee review to make sure that we still have the right model. We're just in pretty much our first full year of our new fee structure, so we've been looking at feedback on that. And we've been doing a lot of governance work to increase our accountability to our membership. We continue to do a lot of outreach, talking about IPv6 in particular, but also RPKI, DNSSEC, and all the other services. We've been doing that through a variety of methods. We've been attending trade shows or meetings that, throughout the region, Canada, the United States, and of course the 20 Caribbean countries that are part of the region. We just finished our very successful Aaron on the Road series just last week in Winnipeg, Canada. And of course, we're still dealing with the IPv4 depletion. So we've been working through our countdown plan that we published some time ago. As you saw from the stats, we're on our final /8, so we're in our final stages. And of course, we're preparing for what we suspect will be a large increase in IPv4 transfers. So what have we been seeing in our region? As you might expect, as we're getting near the end, we've seen a significant interest and increase in requests compared to last year, about 20%. We're finding the requests much more complex to deal with. We're dealing with new parties that have never requested before. We're increasingly doing a lot of back and forth. We've had a larger number of reports of fraud from our community, so that's taking some time. And as part of our final countdown plan, we're now, a lot of requests are going through team review. So it's very busy in the shop there. But we have launched some new initiatives. We've, first of many to come, videos to help train those who may be dealing with it. The first one deals with how our transfers work, and we'll be bringing a number of other videos, and again, the satisfaction survey that I spoke of. Where are we in terms of inventory? Well, it's constantly changing. That's already out of date, according, just checked before I came up here, and we're actually at 0.70 now, which is the allowing inter-RAR ASN transfers. That's currently in discussion. I know that there's now a policy similar to, in the APNIC region, similar to the V4 transfer policy, so if you're interested, maybe reach out to the ARIN AC members here or join the list. And if you're interested in coming out to policy meeting, our ARIN 34 is just around the corner. We'll be holding both a public policy consultation at Nanog jointly, and then our full public policy meeting in Baltimore, Maryland. That's probably, if you're not planning to come and you're in this region, you're probably not going to be coming because that's just around the corner. But we do invite you to.
Thank you, Paul. Next presentation is from LACNIC region, presented by Sergio Rojas. Sergio is the Registration Services Manager in LACNIC. Welcome, Sergio.
Thank you, Germán. This is Sergio Rojas, and I will present in the LACNIC update. So in this chart, you can see the evolution of our membership. And as you know, we have two NIRs, one in Brazil and the other one in Mexico. And organizations who receive internet resources from these NIRs are members of LACNIC as well. So including these NIRs, we have right now 4,055 members. About the status of the pool of IPv4, what we have right now 0.22/A, a little bit more than 3.7 million addresses. And if you visit this website, you can see this chart that we generate daily. We have two IPv4 exhaustion period, and we have reserved a /11 for each period. In the first period, it is, well, we applying the soft landing policy, where the organization can receive or can request additional IPv4 address every 6 months. And when this /11 finish, we will activate the second period of the exhaustion, and that will be only available for new members. So in this case, organization can receive just one IPv4 block and no more than that. In both periods, the maximum location is a /22, and the minimum is /24. So last June, we have activated the soft landing policy, and that is why you can see, yes, is there available the pointer? Does it have pointer or not? Oh, okay. Okay. Here in June, when we activated the soft landing policy, you can see how the IPv4 allocation is /A is growing so slow. That is because we are allocating right now just /22 as a maximum allocation. In this chart, you can see the blue bar and the red bar is very similar. This chart is showing the allocation of IPv6 and IPv4. And as we have a policy that says that each organization who receive or requests an IPv4, if they don't have IPv6, they must request IPv6. That is why the amount of allocation of IPv4 and IPv6 is very similar. Of these 4,500 members, we have 2,904 members with IPv6 allocations, representing 71.6%. And if, in comparison with the previous years, in 2012, we have allocated 578 IPv6 allocations. In 2013, 670 IPv6 blocks. And this year, 386 IPv6 block. As we have predicted the day of IPv4 exhaustion, at the beginning of this year, we have visited members and governmental organizations in our region. We have visited 9 countries where almost 15 people were involved in this project. And the goal of this project was create awareness of IPv4 exhaustion and help them to the transition of IPv6. So what we see after that is that the community received the message, and because we saw in last June that they were really prepared for this period. And so we have received some requests, unusual requests, like organization who has /20, for example, asking us /13 or 14. Obviously, we didn't approve because they couldn't justify. But it was just a couple of them. But in general, we can say that we gave then to the community the message correctly. So we can say that the community is happy, right? APNIC is one of our social program that was created for Haiti, an island in the Caribbean. Last year, we organized a workshop training them in IPv6 network security, wireless connectivity, VoIP telephony, and it was very successful. And that is why this year, last month, we organized the second edition of this workshop, where more than 1,000 people attend to this workshop. Probably next year we will continue with this project. Our previous meeting was held in Cancun, Mexico, where 5 policy proposals were presented. Just 2 of them reached consensus. The first one is talk about the creation of IPv4 pool reserved exclusively for IPv6 deployment. And the other one is management of return internet resources. Both of them are not implemented yet. We are waiting the ratification from the board, and I think this week we will have news from them. Our next meeting, LACNIC 22 and LACNOC, will be held in Santiago, Chile, last week of October, so obviously you are invited to participate to our next meeting.
Update from the RIPE NCC. Lots of things are going on, similar to what you've heard from the others. We thought maybe after V4 exhaustion we would enter a quiet period. We wouldn't need any policies anymore, and we can shut down half of the RIPE NCC. That is not happening. It is not. So, increasing membership. Oh God, we see them streaming in. It is quite exciting. It's lovely, of course, because more members and a sort of reasonable budget continuing on means that the cost per member goes down, and also the fees can go down, and we have changed the way we do our fees a couple of years ago. So it's one man, one fee, the same for everybody, and it's going down, like I said, again, for next year by 150 euros, so it's 1,600 per year for every member, which is nice. Of course, that bears the problem that it's so cheap, there are more people coming in, that makes it even cheaper. I don't know where this is leading, but it's exciting. We have also, over the last couple of years, started to put our feet down very carefully in the, let's say, non-European, non-Western European areas of our service region, specifically in the Middle East and in the former Soviet Union area. We have done regional meetings for quite a long time there, once or twice a year. And we have heard through our membership surveys the wish for a stronger and more persistent presence in the region. So we have hired people, two each for the Middle East and for the Russian area. They're based now in Dubai and in Moscow. We hear the first bits of feedback that we get is quite positive. People really, really like to have RIPE NCC people close to them. It's not that much an issue of time zone, but more of language and culture. So that's seen as a strong commitment on behalf of the RIPE NCC to the regions. Of course, the regional meetings, the big ones, were quite popular, and we scratched our heads a little bit and thought we'll do more of those, but even make them a bit smaller. So we have been going to Bulgaria, to Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan. Also, we will go to Iran later this year, I think in November, finally. And they're on the doorstep, and then they're really excited and love us even more. Great. Yes, you've heard the RIPE NCC has slightly more than 1/8 left at this time, which is lovely. We have our run out fairly and slowly policy as well. What we see and which is not really a surprise is that the number of transfers between our members is increasing. We have a couple of policy adjustments there that also allow us to be less bureaucratic and reduce overheads there. 70% of our members have IPv6 address space, which doesn't mean anything. Yes, I have a lot of things in my cupboards as well, and I'm not using them. So we try to find out what is happening there. We have this, that's the little graph there, the IPv6 ripeness program, where we basically evaluate what people are doing with those IPv6 addresses. And yes, it's making progress, not fast enough. So we put in some more efforts. We do more road shows. We have 10 scheduled for all of next year. Online training courses, webinars are being upgraded, and we have eventually appointed one person in-house to coordinate all the IPv6 related efforts, the V6 program manager. Now, as we see that addresses in the old flavor are becoming more sparse, some people think they are more valuable also, and wouldn't it be great if we would find something, even if it's not really ours, and we could use them or sell them off? So we see quite an increase in hijackings and attempted hijackings. So we try to really get behind that and find out when that happens, before it happens, ideally. And it's amazing what people do. And you think it's just IP addresses, and why would you fake papers and fake public notary documentation and even websites that look really genuine but are not? So we are putting much more effort into this. And also we have the go-ahead from our board to just be a bit stern about this and go to the police and say, look, apparently those people did something really, really bad. Would you please follow up? Of course, what the police then says, what is this about? And yeah, we'll look into it. So now we're going to poke the police a little bit. That's what happened. So yeah, more thorough checks means more work. But well, it's important that we do it. The correctness of the registry is important. We have in the past done occasional really audits, what we call them, and of course when the RIPE NCC comes and wants to look through all your address holdings and see all the documentation, it's seen as, oh God, there they come again. That costs, and this is really awkward, we don't want to do this really. We decided to put this all upside down and say, look, to our members and say, look, this is what the data that we have from you, and do you think this is still up to date? And if it's not, here's what you can change, and here's how you can change it. And we've done a couple of, or a couple more actually, of test cases there, and our members like them, which is great because, as I said, the correctness of the registry is our utmost priority. We have nearly 11,000 members. We want to keep in contact with them, and if we only touch them also in this way every 3 years, that's still a couple of thousand members every year that we have to come after in a positive way. So again, lots of work. Oops. Hey. RPK update, yes, we are doing it. We are moving ahead. It's somewhat popular in our service region. It's great. 2,350 members or something more have requested their certificate. ROAs are out there. There's progress continuing in functionality. We are still developing that stuff. It's being picked up. It's good. Again, what Mr. Anderson said earlier, it's not the hottest thing in the house, but it's being used in a serious way too. Corporate governance. As work is increasing, travel is increasing. Our board also said this is becoming a little bit heavy for a purely voluntary board. Also, wouldn't it be nice if we could get in some more expertise and split the whole load over a couple of more people? So from a 5-person board, they decided to get to a 7-member board, do that in stages. So now we have 6 members currently since the last elections in May. We have 2 ladies, Maria Hull and Salam Yammoud, both of them known in the community. Maria was a former governmental representative from Sweden and now heads the research network there. And Salam I met many years ago in India at one of the IGFs, and since then she was always in that area. She is close to the Lebanese government there. And it's great to have those both on the board. Now for 2 board meetings. The slide says we are currently working on the draft activity plan and budget for next year. We have done that. We have just last Friday presented that to the board. The board says that looks good for now. The basic idea is that we continue with our current services. The budget is within 1% of this year's budget. So FTEs will remain stable, which again means with all the more members, the new members probably coming in, will again make a surplus. Sorry about that. Yes, and we do have, our board has joint meetings, informal meetings with the APNIC EC just to see what is of common interest in the whole big world of internet governance and similar things. So they have relatively close contact. So it's great to see. We did our survey last year, feels like one further down. Last year, we identified some key findings, quite a number of them. We have put them out to our management board and our staff, and did quite a lot of things, and we are going to report back to our community there at the next RIPE meeting as well. Lots of very detailed things that we hear back from our community that we then act on, and most of them that we act on and report back. And we'll continue the effort every 3 years now, the big survey, and we'll do a couple of smaller focus group meetings later this year, just to see whether those efforts are seen also, and what else we should be doing. Current proposals, policy proposals, I won't go into much detail. I think the, for me, most interesting one is the last one, inter-area transfers for internet resources. Again, it's being discussed. We had a couple of failed attempts there. We'll see how far this goes this time. But if this goes through, that has all sorts of repercussions for the RIR. I think that's very interesting. Implementation. Oh yeah, legacy resource holders. Finally, we have an agreement with those guys. Now, holders of legacy resources that are not coming through one of the current RIRs, or the RIPE NCC in this case, of course, can become a RIPE NCC member. Now, that's nothing new, really. But also, they can register the resources through a sponsoring LIR, or they can choose to have a direct contract with the RIPE NCC without becoming a member. Okay? Or they can just do what they always did, and that's it. Basically, we want to get as many of them into the current system to have as little differences there, same services for everybody. That would be great. It was a long, drawn-out negotiation, basically, with them, but it's happening. What else? Oh, we heard about IANA oversight transition, of course. We are doing similar things as APNIC. Discussions with us are taking place in the RIPE Cooperation Working Group, on the mailing list, of course, face-to-face. This is very important that we get this straight. I am fairly positive that the RIRs will get it straight and the RIR communities, but the timeline is somewhat daunting. We want to have our part, the RIR's part, wrapped up by the 1st of December, and then see, I think that's then after even, what was it? APNIC, I think, is the last meeting this year. We want to bundle this up and then throw it out to the ICG, to the ICANN community at large by January. Whew. But yeah, needs to be done, is important. Outreach, all sorts of fora, of course, the IGF, the regional IGFs as well, for Europe, Eurodig, the Arab IGF, the Russian IGF, and national IGFs as well, where we can take part. All sorts of other discussions going on. There's, is it about now? The Plenipod happening in Busan as well. The ITU big meeting every 4 years. Lots of interesting discussions coming forward there, proposals we hear about. We do direct governmental events twice a year with the roundtable meetings in our region. Law enforcement, we meet once a year in London. The international ones and the other RIRs are represented there as well, typically. But also we get increasing regional and even national requests from the Arab states, since now we are there. Within Europe, also the police force in Iran has asked us to come and help them and train them and show them what data is public and how to use it. In November, a little bit late, November, London, but we can sit inside and we'll crank up the heating and we'll have nice socials as well. Of course, everybody is more than welcome to come. There's some time until then. It'll be a week full of cool stuff. Oh, what I haven't mentioned, and I should have, is that we have a new RIPE chair. RIPE is not the RIPE NCC, you know all that. And Rob Bloxile has resigned due to, he's getting on in age and wants to do some other things as well, although he stays in the fold of the community. The new chair is Hans-Peter Hohlen, also in the community for ages, so he's the new RIPE chair, and you'll meet him there then as well, if not before, somewhere else. I have lots of other statistics. I think you can look them up. They're all online. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, there might be coffee, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Axel. And Axel's presentation and the rest of the presentation will be available in the APNIC website, as well as the transcription. And also, you have any specific question, feel free to approach to any of the speakers of this session. We're a little bit earlier, but unless you have any questions, comments, I will invite you then to want to make any comments. Please identify yourself for the record.
Yeah, this is Guo Wei, and I'd like to ask all the IR, 5 region of them, regarding for the IPv6 issues. I think all the in our IR we promote the IPv6 for many, many years, and of course we also have a measurement index. It looks like the number is keep growing. If I'm wrong. I'm right, right? Is about the time to claim the IPv6 growing will be continuing for a long run? Do we still need to put a lot of effort into the promotion or outreach? These are first questions. The second question I'd like to ask, I think in the many years ago, and even now, I think that people still try to continue talking about IPv4 migration to the IPv6. And I think all the IR, even in this community, we understand that actually IPv4 and IPv6 will coexist for many, many, many years, unless I'm wrong. I think the IPv4 and IPv6 will coexist maybe 10, 20 years. If that is the case, should this NRO or number communities, we should start to thinking about it, or even talking to our user or community or the outside world. We have to face the IPv4 and IPv6 coexist. And based on that, how we can overcome the difficulty or what kind of the issue we generate when the 4 to 6 or 6 to 4, because it seems that would be the daily life for us. And that is a time for us to think about a strategy when we communicate with our communities. This is my second question. Thank you.
Thank you, Huiwu. Any comments from someone from the RIRs who are more close to the operational activities in relations that are related to Huiwu questions? All right.
So it's an the first part, your first question is an interesting one, because the Aaron board and community have said, we've been doing a lot of outreach, we've poured a lot of time and financial resources into it. And our view is, no, it's not time to let go. We still this year went to, I don't know how many trade shows, both our staff and volunteers like Dan and Kevin. I think Kevin is just next week at a trade show, and we're still seeing people that we're finding haven't seen the light yet and enjoy the education. So we're continuing to do the outreach, to answer your first question. I'll let Axel answer the second question.
Well, can I ask your answer in the first questions? I think let's take a look about what is the IPv6 growing. My guess, my personal we have some measurement and look at it. It seems like the IPv6 growing actually is based on the mobile usage or flat panel usage, whatever. Not the computer, not from our notebook or the regular computers. And since that is happened, if that is to happen, that means actually the major driving force is mobile industry to helping us to moving the IPv6 deployment faster and growing. Is that right?
I wouldn't be the expert in that. I don't know if someone else would want to comment. I think we're seeing growth in all areas. Mobile has had some gains, but we're starting to see a lot of the service providers, at least in our region, starting to do large deployments. So, thanks.
I cannot speak on behalf of each RIR, but I can tell you that at the NRO level, that there is a full engagement with the IPv6. Still IPv6 was the main messages that we have. For example, in the last IGF, we prepared a very good document, including information of many projects that has been successfully deployed around the world. And I have seen, for example, an Axel presentation that they have designated an IPv6 program manager. So it still is a priority in many of the RIRs. I also think that the scope of the activities of the RIRs are limited. I think it's about promotions, about capacity building, and to explain that is not the implementation of IPv6 is not a thing of another planet. It's something relatively simple. At the end, it's a business decision. I mean, we cannot interfere in business decisions, and what we can do is to offer information, offer training, and offer good examples of what others have been doing around the world. As I said, I think it's still a lot of work to do, but the scope is limited, I think, in many ways to that sort of activities. That will be my personal approach to that. Any other questions? All right. But thank you very much for raising the topic, Wewu. If that's it, we are at 5 minutes earlier. The coffee break should be ready soon. And I want to thank you for attending the session and the speaker as well for delivering the reports. And I would like to invite you to be back in this room for this second part of the APOP section at 4 p.m. Thank you very much.